Welcome to Lesson 22, the one every SysAdmin postpones until the release notes start mentioning end of life. This is the last content lesson of the course, and it covers the upgrade nobody plans for, walking a live Debian host from Bullseye, through Bookworm into Trixie in place with rollback ready. We'll cover 4 things: the release cycle, the pre-flight checklist, the actual safe sequence, and the strategic call of whether to upgrade at all or just rebuild from a fresh image. Start with the calendar, because every upgrade decision flows from it. Debian ships roughly every 2 years, and each release earns about 3 years as stable, 2 more under ELTS, then optionally 3 more under Friedensein's paid ELTS. So your Bookworm box today is covered free until 2028, paid through 2033. The strategic read is simple. Years 1 and 2 are the comfortable window. Year 3 is your planning window. Year 5 is non-negotiable, and past LTS you either pay or rebuild. Put it on the calendar quarterly. Last-minute upgrades are the ones that break things on a Friday afternoon. With the calendar settled, here's the tactical rule that follows from it. 1 major version per upgrade, every time. Jumping Bullseye straight to Trixie is unsupported, and it will break things. The transition logic is only tested between adjacent releases, so you go Bullseye to Bookworm, verify, then Bookworm to Trixie. Expect real movement each hop, a new kernel LTS, a libc bump that's ABI compatible but may force rebuilds, a default Python change that will find every fragile script you own, and a PostgreSQL major that needs p-adjusted upgrade. And know your host. Pets get the in-place dist-upgrade we're focusing on here. Cat'll get rebuilt from a fresh image behind the load balancer. Before you touch apt, you spend 2 hours on preparation, because skipping it is how a 30-minute upgrade becomes a lost weekend. The checklist has 7 steps. Fully patch the current release first, so you're upgrading from a known good state, then take an LVM snapshot for instant rollback. That's your L9 callback, and a fresh Restic backup for the nuclear option, verified restorable, from L18. Then check you've got at least 5 GB free, review your held and obsolete packages, actually read the release notes, and schedule the window with comms out 48 hours ahead. Do this, and the upgrade itself becomes the easy part. Now the upgrade itself in 4 phases, each one a checkpoint where you stop and inspect before continuing. Phase 1. Set your sources from Bookworm to Trixie, then grep to verify no stragglers, especially in third-party repo files. Phase 2. Apt update, then upgrade without new PKG. This lifts libc, apt, and dpkg in place without dragging in new packages, lowering blast radius. Phase 3 is the main event. Full upgrade, run inside screen or tmux, so an SSH drop doesn't leave dpkg half configured, and when prompted on config files, n keeps yours, which is the safer default. Phase 4. Auto-remove the orphans, clean the cache, reboot into the new kernel. Reboot doesn't mean done. You're maybe 30% there. The other 70 is the 8-point check. LSB release and unnamed to confirm both userland and kernel, flip to Trixie, system CWL list units, failed for broken services, journal SIL PRB for boot time noise, and a curl against your app's health endpoint. Then Postgres, if it's a major bump. PG upgrade else clusters will show both old and new, and PG upgrade cluster migrates the data. Sweep obsolete and half-installed packages, watch Grafana against your pre-upgrade baseline from L19, and only after 24 healthy hours do you remove the snapshot. Anything off before then? Roll back. Now. Mostly works is how you lose a working host. So you rolled back. Now what? 2 paths, and you chose at pre-flight back on slide 4. The fast path is LV convert, merge against your pre-upgrade snapshot, 5 minutes, reboot, and you're back on Bookworm with 0 data loss between snapshot and now. The nuclear path is Restic. Boot a live ISO, pull your pre-upgrade Bookworm tag, restore to root, reinstall grub, 30 to 60 minutes, full rebuild. Either way, the recovery checklist is the same. Re-verify, investigate why, document, plan the next attempt, and the start line matters. Practice this quarterly on a non-prod host. the first real rollback should never be your first rollback. Everything we've built so far scales to exactly one host. Production has 50, so we wrap the entire procedure, snapshot, sources rewrite, minimal upgrade, full dist-upgrade, conditional reboot, health check, into the Ansible playbook from lesson 20 with serial 1, so hosts move through one at a time. Then we deploy in waves. Canary first, soak 24 hours, review metrics, then a 25% slice, then the rest. Between every wave, you stop and look. If anything degrades, the fleet halts where it is, not at 3 a.m. on Sunday. And before you wave that playbook across the fleet, ask a harder question for each host. Should we even be upgrading it at all? A stateless web node behind a load balancer doesn't want a careful in-place dist upgrade. It wants a fresh Trixie image, a target swap, and the old one decommissioned. Stateful database primaries, edge boxes you can't reach, container hosts running an apt-managed runtime, those earn an in-place upgrade. Kubernetes workers, auto-scaled cloud VMs, drain, reimage, retire. Cattle aren't pets. Match the strategy to the workload, not to habit. Now, the gotchas, 5 that bite in the field. Third-party repos still pointing at the old codename is the classic. Apt looks healthy until it isn't, and your cache is a mess for weeks. DPKG config prompts, answered on autopilot, will silently revert your SS hardening and lock you out. Disk pressure mid-upgrade leaves half-installed packages and a manual cleanup you don't want at 9 p.m. DKMS modules, ZFS, NVIDIA, break against the new kernel. So check DKMS status before, not after reboot. And 5, never skip a release. Bullseye to Trixie directly assumes transitions that never happened. One major version per step, always. So let's pull the whole lesson together. 6 skills that turn dist-upgrade from a Friday afternoon gamble into a planned operation. Know the release cycle and put upgrade windows on the calendar quarterly. Move one version at a time with a 24-hour soak between hops. Run the 7-step pre-flight, execute the 4 phases inside tmux, verify against the 8-point check with rollback ready, and roll the fleet through Canary, then 25%, then the rest. That's it. One lesson left, L23, the 30-point capstone audit, and stage 04 closes out. And that's lesson 22, upgrade ready, release cycle, pre-flight, and rollback, the 4-phase upgrade and fleet orchestration via Ansible. All 4 boxes checked. Next up is the grand finale. Lesson 23, the 30-point capstone audit, a full sweep across all 4 stages, and a recap of everything you've built across the 6 mastery courses. Take a breath, then load the finale.